You're right, Barney, I promise you that.
Oh, Lord. Witness, I got this stupid thing cut off.
Ready, Rhonda? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the hour's arrived. I call this meeting to order. I'm going to ask Mr. Johnson if he would to give the invocation.
Father, we thank you again for allowing us to come into our workshop for the city of Hazelhurst. We actually look down and give us wisdom and knowledge that we make the right decisions for our people. We want to thank you for this beautiful day that you afforded us. We ask you to bless those that are sick, bereaved, and shed in. In your name I do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, any changes, additions to the agenda? Anybody got anything they want to change? I don't know of anything. I think we've got everything pretty well covered. We can, under Mayor and Commissioner comments, if you do come up with something you want to put in it, we can handle it then. I entertain a motion that we approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Ramey, and I heard the second down here by Mr. Johnson. This motion was made by Mr. Ramey and a second by Mr. Johnson that we approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda, our work is cut out. Our agenda is set. Okay, number one, our parliamentarian has told me that this zoning recommendation situation has been laid on the table, and in order for it to come back up, someone has to move that it be taken off the table.
Say that again, please.
You have to move to take it off the table. But the council
Motion take from the table.
Yeah. So, hearing none, we will leave that on the table till Thursday night or whatever. But I will say this. I will say this to you that I think we ought to. I think we're obligated to give our folks an answer. We don't need to keep lollygagging around. We need to let them know what our decision is, and we'll try to do that Thursday night. Okay. Number two is discuss the GFA loan for drinking water and state revolving fund. That this big loan was available to us, and we couldn't swallow it, and we parceled out part of it, and here we are. And now, Mr. Green, you're in charge of explaining where we are.
Okay. Well, thank you, and I appreciate the good seat.
For those of you that don't know, this is Ken Green. He's the chief engineer for Turnip Seed Engineering, and he's the engineer on this project.
Okay, so we started this journey back in 2017, and these are the numbers that have evolved since that journey started. The funding from GFA is available in the amount of, $2.1 million from GFA, which includes a $1.6 million loan and $460,000 in grant. Now, very recently, GFA increased the grant amount, which makes a little more money available to the city, and I believe the city has the paperwork now. But originally, the scope of the project, if you notice up here, included a new well, a water tank, a connecting water line, and some miscellaneous water system improvements. The water line portion has been bid and awarded, and that project is scheduled to start construction any day as soon as the contracts are complete. And $621,000 is the amount of that contract. The funding for that is coming from Beasley Forest Products has offered $200,000 toward that project. The city also received a $500,000 One Georgia grant, and the balance of $58,000 has been promised by the county if needed, I understand. So that's a total of $758,000. Some more of the money from the GFA loan needs to go to pay for the cash match for the CDBG. The city received a community development block grant of $750,000 for water system improvements, and the city's portion is $377,000, of which all of that can come from the GFA loan. So the remaining funds from GFA are right here, called water system improvements. And those were left so that the city could make some final decisions on exactly how to spend those funds. And so that can include, the things that it can include are a new well, water tank, and distribution system improvements. So we put all of those funds under that one category, since it can be used for any of these. So there's $1.4 million. Now, if funds are not needed in the water line, this $58,000 can be added to there, which gives you over $1.4 million. And then there's $460,000.
Wait a minute, the 58,000, which you're talking about? There, the 58,000 that's promised by the county if needed.
Right, now
That money,
this,
if it's not needed on this pipeline going to the thing, it will not
It
be
won't
available.
go anywhere else.
We won't ever get
right,
that.
the county's money will.
Yeah, we won't ever get a dime on that.
Right.
I thought that was the 58,000 you were talking about.
Well, it is, except in this, these numbers were put together without the county contributing.
Mhm.
So at the time, we were showing that coming from the GFA loan.
Mhm.
So if the county pays that, or it's not needed, then that $58,000 that we were looking at loan at one time can be moved up into water system improvements, which puts you at just over $1.4 million.
Well, that's
for water
if,
system
though.
improvement. That is.
You're talking about if there. We need-
Definite if, but it could benefit the county and the city, there if you're going into the fire hydrants, because that's county and city.
Right. And then there's a little bit more grant money available, which can be added to there. So there's somewhere between 1.4 and 1.5 million available for improvements. Now, the cost of the well that we had talked about is right at $600,000 for a well. So if you fund that, you've got $1.5 million minus $600,000, so you've got about $900,000 left. And we estimated the cost of the fire hydrant replacement program to be between $400,000 and $500,000. So you can pay for the fire hydrants, and you've still got $400,000 or $500,000 left for miscellaneous improvements and the well. So you can afford to do the well, the fire hydrants, and another $400,000.
Okay.
Does this also include, on the fire hydrants, putting in those valves so that we can cut the things off?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, a 6-inch valve on each.
Okay, now, you're talking about a well. What are we talking about, a well and tank, or just a well?
A well.
A well, okay, now, is the well without a tank gonna give us enough storage, give us enough storage and everything else? I mean, granted, we're gonna have more volume and whatever else as far as more water supply, but would we be better served to put a tank instead of just putting a well and no tank?
Well, you would be better served to have a tank. All right, so a tank is $1 million, a well is $600,000, and then you got $500,000 in fire hydrants that you'd like to do, which is a little more than the funds that you have available.
Okay.
Now, you can pay for that, but it would mean that the city would increase their debt to pay for that.
We don't need to do that. I mean, we definitely need the fire hydrants beyond anything else. I mean, we've got to have them. I mean, we're sitting here with our butts hung out in the wind on fire hydrants. If something happens, we're not gonna have much of a city to do anything with. I mean, with the fire hydrants they're a must. They're not a, if we want to, or if we think we should, or we could push it, or whatever else has been pushed as far as it needs to be pushed. I mean, we've got to think about our constituents and everything else, their ISO ratings, as well as, you know, not so much as that, but the safety of the public in general. I mean, so the fire hydrants are something that we can't continue to take and push down the road. I mean, we can't do that.
I'll echo what Mr. Griffin is talking about there. We have 1/4 of our city that has fire hydrants that do not work. 1/4 of the fire hydrants in our city do not work. And we've got to do something about that. It's not our administration or even the last administration. It has been a history that we've ignored this in our city. and we need to get busy with it.
So understanding those are your priorities, then the remaining funds, you can pay for the fire hydrants and you can pay for a well. And then you're left with about $400,000 for other water system improvements. So a tank is $1 million, so you're a little over $500,000 short buying a tank. Now where these numbers came from, the total is such that the city would not increase the debt beyond the debt that you had just a few months ago.
Most of those loans are paid off now, they don't exist anymore.
Right, so if you take that loan payment and put it into this loan payment, the city doesn't increase your debt payment more than you had last year. Now, if you decide you want to build a tank now, that would mean you would have to increase your debt some.
Can you put a tank later on?
Yes.
And where is the well gonna be positioned?
Well, the well location that we're showing is on, is that Pine or Plum?
Plum.
On Plum Street, over near where the park is.
We own a good bit of land back in there, and
Okay.
it's, the aquifer is positioned such that it's a good location for it.
Okay.
And we own the property.
Okay, now, just to, and I won't just play devil's advocate here and whatever else, what if, instead of putting a well in, we put a tank? Would that benefit us better than just having a well with not the storage?
I think he said that a minute ago, that, you'd be $500,000 short.
No, that's if we dug the well and put the tank in. I'm talking about if we took and put a tank as opposed to putting a well in, where would the benefit of that be as opposed to not putting a well in and no tank?
All right,
If we put a tank and no well.
That's what he just said. See, if you put in, the tank is $1 million, the well is $600,000. So you're increasing your indebtedness by $400,000 there.
I think
You're saying one or the
No, but
other.
he-
No, I'm talking one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about both.
Okay, so let me address that. Either a well or a tank would help your fire situation.
Okay.
The nice thing about a well is that a well will keep on pumping as long as you need it during a fire, and a tank will run out of water. Now, you do need the tank. You need a tank for several reasons. One of them is to equalize pressures in that area, because if you did have a bad fire at Beasley without a tank, you would suck the pressures down really low over there on the hill.
Right.
Now, there's not many people that live there, golf course and a few folks, but during a fire, they would be hurting for water. Now, that's an emergency condition that might be acceptable during a fire. So you need it to regulate pressure. You also need it to have some reserve fire flow capacity in the air, and that's a benefit. But in a very, very large fire, your tanks can run out of water. And if you don't have another well to keep pumping, that doesn't do you much good. So you could argue that it's a little better to have a well than have a tank in your case.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. I wanted to find out either or, I'm not talking about both, I'm talking about either or. What would be our best case scenario? Like I said, granted the pump's gonna still continue to pump, but you're not gonna have the pressure that you're still out of a well, you're still not gonna have the pressure you would if you had a tank in the air and everything with water still pumping to it.
That's right, but you'll have it longer. So it's kind of either one would be better than what you have now, but if I had my choice, I'd put a well in first.
And that's 600 versus.
And a well, that's right.
I mean, that's what I was just wanting to find out there, okay. Okay, I'm good with that, I just wanted to find out what the difference between the two would be there, other than the
With that,
$400,000.
and we're not saying this is the final thing, but with that approach, now go through again now, with the well, what funds will be available for Mr. Ramey to make sure that he gets the other fourth of our city with fire hydrants.
Okay, so you see this 1.4 million, which is...
Okay, that's what's left, that's what's available, right?
Right, that's the minimum amount. That could be close to 1.5 by the time all is said and done.
But let's go with the minimum.
Right, so if you're gonna spend $400,000 or $500,000 on fire hydrants, that leaves you with $900,000 to $1 million after that. Okay, and you can use that to spend $600,000 on a well, which leaves you about $400,000 for other water system projects. or improvements.
Or we could try to find, the additional money, and, if we looked at our debt load and what we've handled. I'm thinking, according to, with the, debt that we've just dropped off, this is not increasing our annual obligation at all.
That's right.
It's almost maintaining, as I understand it, even if the beginning, it was gonna maintain about the same yearly obligation, identical obligation. Now, with getting this 600,000 off Alchandra, are we not, maybe, looking at again now? If it was identical before we got this pipeline that we're putting out to Beasley off, and we've got that off now, this debt load should be less than that now.
No, this includes, the One Georgia and the Beasley money. So these numbers have already been adjusted after we took that into consideration.
I know that, but see, we don't have any debt on that 600-something thousand. No debt whatsoever,
Which 600?
going out to the, Beasley.
The 700,000 you're talking about.
It's still in part of the, formula that you've got there, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the payment, okay, so the payment, you see this total loan amount, let me see where the mouse got. You see this total, can y'all see that? 1.6?
166.
So this total amount of loan, the payment on that at 1.94% for 20 years is $99,600, which is the exact amount that the city was paying on the 2000 and 2001 loans.
I'm confused about the 700,000.
Because it's not even, I mean, that's One Georgia 500, 200 from Beasley, and then 50.
That's taken care of.
That's taken care of. It's not
That's
even
right.
gonna be a payment at all there. It's gone.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Santa Claus brought us that.
So it's 700 off of that figure?
No.
No, that leaves that 1 point,
Okay.
it's from the 1.3,
It's
whatever
already
it
in
is.
there.
Right.
And that payment is how much per year for 20 years?
99,000.
Okay, and that's the debt load of the other two loans we just paid off?
Yes.
Okay, so if we were to try to come up with that extra 600,000 to go ahead and get the tank at this time, we'd be increasing our debt load by 600,000.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Okay, all right, I think we all understand where we are.
The only thing now, as I told Mr. Rainey, y'all, seriously, the fixing of the fire hydrant is okay, but we was here once before with the other engineer. If you get this money, somebody got to be obligated to keep these things up. We went through this once before. We did, and they wasn't kept up. And that's why we're back to it now. Carl wanted to make sure somebody was put in place to do the lift stations and those fire hydrants. So it's good to fix them, but we got to get a plan to keep them up.
Well, we need to get the fire hydrants in place before we need to take and try to worry about getting somebody down there to get them fixed. I mean, regardless, we got to have, the fire hydrants are paramount. I understand what you're saying, and that's all fine and well, but if you don't have nothing to maintain, there ain't no sense putting a plan together to maintain nothing.
But you got to, after you get them in place,
Yes, we
we've
understand
got to keep them up, else we're gonna be back here again.
You're absolutely right. After we get those, things in place, we've got to have a maintenance program to, control that. But it's our responsibility as council to make sure that we have follow through and it's done.
I'm not complaining, y'all, but we done went through this before. Let's put them together, but let's try to make sure that we get somebody in place to take care of it.
Yep.
And I think we need to, do the nature of all the finagling that the engineers got to do and everybody else get it up the bids and put it all together. I think that, I understand that, Dwayne, what you want to do and you vote however you want to, but I think we're in position to,
Oh, yeah.
to proceed with this based upon the well and the, distribution lines and fire hydrants, and we will, I don't know, we got another,
He didn't say not to do it, he just
Oh.
said, make sure you get somebody that's gonna keep it up.
Well, I understand
maintain.
that, but I'm trying
No,
to see
there's
what,
no issue
I'm trying to see
about
what, the engineer's gonna be, what are you gonna do now if we tell you to proceed with the well and, about 70 fire hydrants and valves? What are you gonna do now, you tell me?
Okay, so the two things that we would ask the city to consider Thursday is to vote to accept the GFO agreement that the city already has, and that just gets the ball rolling on the financing. And the other thing would be to accept our proposal for engineering services so we can start to work on it. So at that point, we can begin design on the well and the fire hydrants and prepare drawings and specifications to get it out to bid. And so then you're looking at about 6 months to put all that together. And then at the end of 6 months, we would advertise it for bids and you'd open bids and do the construction.
Anyone got any questions about what the man's proposing?
No, sir.
Sounds good.
Well,
Sounds good.
okay, all right, are we gonna be in position to handle this Thursday night?
Don't see a problem with it.
Yes, sir.
I believe we will.
All right, sounds good to me. Mr. Green, you're a long way from Augusta. If you wanna get out of there and get out of my chair, I'm not real comfortable with you in the wrong chair anyway.
Right there at the line, buddy. I guarantee you, I'd hate to drive tonight.
Thank you for your chair.
Only way I drive it with a 5,000 on the tank.
Tell your lieutenant that I'm working hard on, those easements for that CDBG. I made a lot of progress today, and I'll make a lot more progress tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kenny, appreciate it. Take care.
Be safe.
Thank you, Kenny.
Y'all entertaining me up there.
Yes, sir.
Kenny, you still got all them goats that you've, milking and everything?
I got some sheep right now we're milking.
Sheep, you're milking sheep.
I love lamb, by the way. Rack of lamb.
Bless you, son, bless you.
Little rack of lamb.
Okay, let's move on. Thank you, Ken. Okay, let's move on. Okay, Mr. Reese, you're next, Tony. In case those of you that don't know, Tony is the man that's resurrecting our golf course out there. He's put in a lot of sweat and blood, and I certainly admire this man and the amount of energy and effort he's put into it.
Good evening. So, this looks like a lot of information, but I promise you I'll be brief. I know you don't want to be here all night. And I apologize for not staying at the podium, but this is the room I've got to work with. So first of all, the cover is the cover of our current scorecards. None of the yardages were correct, matching up with the actual marble stones there on the tee boxes. So now all the blue, all the red, and all the white actually are correct on the scorecard. And all the advertisement was older than some of the people that were advertising these on here, they weren't on there. So that got all corrected this year. As a matter of fact, today is 7 months and 1 day that I stepped onto the golf course. So the first thing, maybe a little out of order. So these two pieces of equipment that you see in front of you, this is the Pro Gator. This piece of equipment is very expensive. We own it outright.
Wait a minute, I'm not on that page.
Go ahead, flip one, sir.
Okay.
There you go. Nope, flip one more. I can see it from here. I apologize. I think if you got the Pro Gator in front of you, that's what you should be looking at. This right here. This is the Pro Gator. This is a $60,000 machine. And we have every piece of equipment that goes with it. We own it. It's in excellent condition. So we can fertilize with this. We can do everything, liquid and regular spread fertilizer. So this is a awesome piece of equipment. The next piece of equipment is the zero turn. Yes, sir.
I was a little confused, you got cash sale written in hand.
Yeah, that happened back in 2016. We purchased it.
Okay, you weren't proposing to
No,
sell?
sir.
Okay.
No, sir, we own it.
All right.
We
I
own it
just
outright.
wanna
I'm
make
getting-
sure.
Yeah, I'm getting everything out of the way that you own right now, and then we'll talk about what our debt load is. So you own this piece of equipment and the next piece of equipment, this zero turn. It's basically $80 for the blades, oil, and regular maintenance, and we own it. It is one of the best machines they have, and it's in excellent condition.
And that's what you call your greens mower?
No, sir, not yet.
That's not,
Flip, go ahead and flip. I can see it from here, I'll help you out. The zero turn, keep flipping. The next page. Oh, that one, right there in front of you. That's a zero turn, okay? So we own this machine right here. All right. That's what I'm cutting the collars and around the greens with, around the greens. So the next thing we come to, most important thing that we need to have a golf course is irrigation. So in 2016, there was a report done on this golf course. The total system was running 25%. In 2016, the greens were running at 30%. In April, when I stepped on in 2019, the total system was running at 45%. When I say total system, I mean fairways. You have 7 of them and 10 greens. That includes the putting green. So in April of 2019, 7 months and 1 day ago, when I stepped on, the total system was running at 45%. Greens were running at 55%. Today, the total system is running at 75%. That's fairways and greens. Greens are running at 100%. And each green has its own shut-off valve, except for number 4. That's because number 4 is handled by only 2 sprinklers, and it never hurts the green, so it can run on its own, it's fine. Whoever wants to jump in and put in a valve, it's not a problem. We can take care of that.
let me interrupt you just a minute
Yes,
there. For those of you that don't know, when that system was put in, it was put in totally electronically controlled, so that someone would go to the control thing and turn, and it would magnetically flip up sprinklers all over the system. There was electronic wires all over that golf course. It was put in by Walter Thompson Sr., who was a electronic genius, so to speak, and he knew how to do it. As long as he was around, it worked fine. But through the years, with other people using it, those lines, somebody would go along and need to cut across to run a water line or a sewer line or something, and this line would get cut, and then the next one, and it got to the point that the automatic system was absolutely a disgrace. And so Mr. Parisi has taken it and made it a manual course, and he can operate it that way.
Right, so to piggyback on what the mayor said, the rest of the 2016 reports, what it says is that you were getting good electricity, the same thing that Mr. Tommy, our electrician, told us in 2019 this year. You were getting electricity from the box to the controller, and then the electricity to all these sprinklers was a hit or miss. Now, it wasn't just the sprinklers alone. We had this discussion before. Things were buried. 65% of the fairway sprinklers were buried, and maybe 25% of the sprinklers on the greens were just damaged. So, still we had issues with the irrigation as far as the equipment was concerned, but the electricity, the same answer we got 4 years later. So, to move forward,
You would answer the pump now, I believe.
right, so important, you know, you can't pump the water, you can't get it there. So here's what's going on with your pump. That pump is over 60 years old, the capacity is it's an Ingerson. The capacity is 10,000 gallons per hour. The check valve is a Clayton valve. I located the company here in Georgia. To replace the interior guts of that valve is $371. We do not need to replace the outside casing, it's in great condition. I've spoken with Councilman Romay, we're going to paint it and we're going to cover it, and they acknowledged that was the right thing to do, and we're in great shape there. The flange was leaking badly, and a lot of air was coming through there. I went down to Cheney Bush right here in Hazelhurst, shot a picture of it, talked to him about it, ran out there with my own tools, took that flange completely apart, resealed it, $22. It's tighter than a drum, there's no air, there's no water coming out of it, it's good to go. That's an 8-inch line coming out of that pump. So it's 8-inch, 6-inch, 2-inch, 1.5 inches, and then 3/4 to the sprinkler. So today, that pump is running at 100%, and it's running at 60 PSI consistently. All right, now let's talk about the sprinklers, because that's everything that I just covered here in a nutshell for you. Let's look at this. This is the first cost savings that I'm gonna show you, and it comes in the sprinklers. So when I got here, you had 38 Rainbirds. They ranged on the low end, this is a 700 and 900 series Rainbirds. On the low end, is $105 a piece. On the high end, they're $139 a piece. That's the 900s. Today, you have 4,400 PGPs. The actual sprinkler is $8.75. The install is $11.75 with couplings and pipe for a total of $517. So 7 fairways, you got 70, you had 70 Rainbirds out on those fairways. It's approximately 40 feet in between each sprinkler is what you need, so you need anywhere from 32 to 38 feet of spray. And on some of the fairways where you have a lean gravity feed, it'll water the rest of the fairway. You may not need a sprinkler there, but these are very easily to move, not a problem. So 70 Rainbirds at $73.50. This is just fairways now. $73.50 to $97.30. They're being replaced with 70 PGPs at $11.75 a piece for $822.50. So total irrigation today, the Rainbirds would have been $11,340 or $15,012. With the PGPs, $1,339.50. Where I'm at right now, to get to 100%, I need 50 PGPs at $11.75 a piece for $875.50, and your course will be
$587.50 or $850?
$587.50. So your course system will be at 100%, and that's why I said we're at 75% on the irrigation when I started. That's a cost savings of $16,672.50. So it won't cost you no more than $2,000 to replace everything on that golf course moving forward.
Cost savings again is what? I've got 13.6 here.
I may have written something on another page. It's $16,672.50. Now you're looking at $1339.50 on PGPs.
No, at the bottom,
At the very bottom, you got 13.
I miswrote it, I apologize. I just miswrote it. It's 16,000. I apologize for that. All right, so that takes care of the irrigation. So your irrigation's in great shape.
We're going with mechanical and just cheap ordinary valves that you can pick up at the local
That's it.
hardware store.
That's it.
And you turn them on and off manually.
And Leslie isn't with us anymore, but that was a 23-year-old single mother, and I taught her to go out and run that entire irrigation system. And if she had a problem, all she did was call me on the phone. I didn't even have to be on the course. So we're at the point you can send a high schooler out there and they can run that irrigation.
The thing that also sounds good to me, Tony, is the fact as old as that pump is, it's performing well, holding 60 PSI.
Right.
No leaks and
No.
doing great.
Well, the other thing too is that the difference also, remember, we also had talked about the greens where these Rainbirds were dumping anywhere from 30 to 60 gallons an hour on these greens and actually killing the greens, just too much water. All these PGPs at 60 PSI are 12 gallons an hour combined, all of them. So you're going from 900 gallons an hour on that course to whatever 12 times 70 is.
Well, I'm proud of what you've done there. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's where we really have bit the bullet. This is what really has killed the golf course in the last 4 years. And it's our debt load. It's the same thing that you're talking about, city debt. So what happened in 2000...
Wait a minute, is our...
Where's your page on that?
We're right here, master, you got it right in front of you. We're at the master lease.
Oh, this master lease, okay,
Yes, sir.
all right, okay.
So this was the master lease that was signed in 2016. The only piece of equipment that was re-signed in 2017 by yourself, Mr. Mayor, was the blower, because the blower they had caught on fire, and we got a new one. Now, one of the mistakes, I believe, one of the mistakes that was made on signing the leases for any equipment was that we signed 48-month true leases. So we never owned the equipment. We paid cash for the zero turn, and we paid cash for the Kubota, the Pro Gator, and that was a good deal. Those are excellent pieces of equipment. As long as we maintain them, everything's kept under cover, we're in good shape. But moving forward, this golf course doesn't need all this. We just don't. So one of the things that we talked about, we talked to the customers, our people in the county, our people in the city. We talked to many of the council members, and I've also talked to the professionals at Surf. I can't remember. Show Surf. And so what they've told me is this. Here's what we signed up for. We signed up for this machine right here. This is a Greens machine. It's a $52,000 unit. These two machines, it almost looks like, I don't know, I'm going to hold my thoughts on this, but these two machines are tandem, 2500B. That's a Greens cutting machine. But what we were doing was we called one a trim machine, and we called the other one a Greens machine. And all they were doing was cutting a collar with one machine. You see the hours here, 172 hours? I mean, we spent $27,000 over 4 years for a machine that all we did was cut collars with. That's completely unnecessary. This machine does the same thing. Where we're going to change this is we're going to keep one machine, and all we need to do is change the rollers, the rotors, and the cutters. There's only two types of rollers or cutters that you need on this machine. One is to cut the greens, and the other one is called vertical cuts. It's just like blades, and they're straight up and down instead of sideways. And what they do, we need them, we need to use those vertical cuts 8 times a month. Once a month, 8 months out of the year, once a month. So we do that vertical cut, it helps promote lateral growth, and it helps aerate a little bit on top.
So this cutter will fit one machine?
Right, you change out the blades, and it takes 15 minutes. So we never needed to do that. But moving forward, okay, so what you're going to see in this projection is this machine, we want the next 3 sheets behind it is the actual physical condition of these machines. You see they come to term in February 1st of 20. They are in excellent condition. I'm not touching them, I'm not moving them. We just turn them in. The ones that come to term right here, this fairway one, this 25 greens machine, and the bunker rates that we don't need right here, we're getting rid of those immediately. That's going to take us from $212,000 debt to $115,000 debt. That's going to happen immediately. By February 1st of 20, that's going to happen.
Wait a minute, Tony, you done lost me.
Okay, these are just condition
All right.
reports. Those are
This is condition report, but you said you talked about the ones that you want to keep. The next page says remove.
We're only keeping one, 2500B right here. One. We're removing 7700A. We're removing the most expensive 2500B. We got lucky, it has the most hours on it. We used the right one. We're going to remove the bunker rate. Okay, that bunker, we're going to remove these, and that's going to drop our debt right here, okay, from 212 to 115. Now let me talk about this here real quick. The reason why we want to get rid of this fairway unit, if we don't cut that grass to at least 1/2 of an inch, we will burn that machine up. You need a staff out there, you need a crew, and you will burn that machine up. It's too expensive, and our course, we don't need it. What our players want is they want 1/2 inch of grass. They don't care if they don't have carpet on the fairway. We are not sawgrass. We cannot compete with that. But if I can give them a 1/2 inch cut, which we'll get into, and I can use that energy onto better greens, that's what we're asking for, and that's what we're looking for.
Now, all 3 of these pieces of paper that say remove are 3 different machines.
Yes, sir. It's a 7700A, and they're highlighted for you. It's 7700A, 2500B, the most expensive one, and the bunker rate right here. Now, here's the problem with the bunker rate. I got good news for you, Mr. Mayor. The bunker rate's not due till September. I called John Deere Financial, and I talked to them, and they're standing firm that they want to hold their term. They want to make their money before, we're going to turn these 2 in February. No, we already passed the inspection report. All they do is come pick them up. We don't owe another dime. That's it. But we already bit the bullet for 4 years. So that's basically it. But that's it. That debt's gone. Okay? Now, when we talk about this bunker rate, they want to hold their mud to September 1st. I reached out to Bruce Johns, rec department. He's very interested in this machine. As of 4 o'clock today, John Deere allowed me to give him a buyout price for December, for next month. So he has a choice of either taking our lease as a simple assumption. We don't pay nothing. They just go and qualify for the $225 a month payment and take it, and then they deal with 9/1, or they can buy it December 1, and we're done.
So you've given the Recreation Department two options.
I haven't, John Deere has.
Well, we have in this
Yeah.
for us to consider.
Yeah.
They can either continue our lease, which goes to next September,
Yep,
or they've given a price that they can buy it out now and own the machine and it's all bought.
done. Either way,
Either way, it's gone.
either way it's going, and that's all we care about.
All right.
Doesn't cost us a dime. That machine, technically, bumpers don't need it,
Have you used it since you've been out there?
a couple times. That's it. But when I realized this was going on, I've had my employees out there with hand rakes, and we hand rake the bumpers. Yeah, it's totally, well, that machine, it's not big enough for what we have. It's not. It really should never ended up on the golf course, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so moving down.
Is the blower working fine now, the new blower?
Blower's working fine, and now we need to talk about those pieces
Okay,
as
all
well.
right, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So, here we are, we're gonna remove this, so the debt goes from 212 to 115, from 4314 a month to 2392 a month. Now, ProFlex, turn the page. Yes, sir, wait.
Where are you on that?
All right, here we are. These are your,
I'm on the page right after the, remove.
I'm sorry. Keep going now. Go about 4 pages behind. You're gonna see this layout. Keep going. We wanna go here to this ProFlex. You got it right there, Mr. Mayor, right on top.
Okay.
I got the Proflex, I know.
All right, so this is the ProFlex 120. It comes out of Canada. They sell it to John Deere, and John Deere leases it out, okay? This is a $23,000 unit, okay? We're stuck with this machine until, where is it? All right, so in February 1st of 20, February 1st of 20, we need to do the same thing. We need to make a decision here. But this is what we're gonna cut our half-inch with. It's a great machine. The belts for this machine are $400. You have to get them, they are Kevlar belts. You have to get them from John Deere. I tried to go to Napa and do that deal, and they've got a secret on it with the pulleys and the material on the belts, but we've only replaced one in 7 months. So, it's a great machine. We can get our fairways cut down to a half, and guess what? We're riding right over these PGP sprinklers, and they're not even being touched. So I've made sure to put the irrigation deep enough in the ground. We're only talking a half-inch an inch. Okay.
Tony, let me stop you now.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that everybody's with me here. On this machine that you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
Are we leasing that machine?
Yes, now here's.
And give me the terms
I'm
of the
gonna give
lease.
you all the,
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna give you all the details.
All right.
So here's the problem with the ProFlex, okay? The ProFlex was signed on a 48-month true lease. And again, moving forward, if we ever buy equipment or need equipment for this golf course, we've got to make sure we consider a buyout lease instead of a 48-month true lease. Because now we've got to lease it again. Now, my recommendation to you is to buy this out. Turn to the next page.
You said this while we're turning, you said this was made out of,
The belts are made out of Kevlar.
we can do a recycling program, just, ship them right on over to the police department.
Works for me, sir. So Kevlar on the belts, and the blades on this machine are $211. They need to be replaced at least twice a year. The belts just as you go. So look on this next sheet where it shows the ProFlex 120. In February of 2020, it's going to cost us $46.30 to own this machine. So we would have paid
I must be on the wrong page. Okay, all right.
Down
there.
At the bottom, okay.
This is an email he sent me, so they're a little moved around, but I'll get you there. So basically, we've paid, $28,000 for a machine that costs $23,000, but we don't want to release this thing. We want to own it. It's in great condition, and we can keep it in perpetuity as long as, look at the Kubota we're running. There's no reason why we can't keep this machine and maintain it. So unfortunately, we're going to have to pay something to get out of this, but we definitely don't want to. We got to get off this debt.
So the ProFlex will be
Yes, sir.
owned.
The ProFlex will be owned, and the
Okay.
beauty of this is, going back to when we first met, and your first comment was, if we can break even in 2 years, we're on path to do that in 15 months by doing this.
That's the best news I've heard.
We need to own this, we need to own our equipment. Now, let me finish before I get back to owning equipment. The last thing is the Buffalo blower. We're stuck with that darn Buffalo blower till 8/1/21. Why in the world would you rent a machine for 4 years for, for pennies on the dollar? We could have bought one of these for $5,000. you know, so we're stuck with that. Now, I've been doing pretty good with my negotiations. I'm gonna keep hammering on that, but let me chip away one thing at a time, okay? So where that takes us here is when we buy out the ProFlex, it's gonna cost a total of $6,040 combined with the ProFlex and the Buffalo blower to buy those pieces out. We have to have those two. We want those. We want a blower, but they need it. When we do the vertical cuts, we have to use a blower to blow that stuff off. When the pine cones,
And when the ducks make a mess, you know, the
everything,
geese make.
just everything, pine cones, pine, everything. I mean, it's a great machine and we
Yeah.
need it. So it's gonna cost us, if you look there on that sheet again, I have it highlighted, $1,400 to buy out the blower. I'm gonna try to expedite this date. I don't wanna wait until 2021 to do that, okay? But that brings us down now to $85,192.75, okay, for operating. And what this 85 number represents now is the golf carts, okay? Now, on the golf carts, you may want to take, I put that sheet on the very back for you blank, so you can make a couple notes. I spoke to our rep on the golf carts. We have a fleet of 24 carts. Guess what? They're in excellent condition. That helps us. This lease expires in September of 2020. Now, I did have a couple conversations with some of the councilmen. I thought that maybe reducing the fleet would help us. They weren't sure about that. I double-checked with the rep. No, that doesn't help. It's $50.50 per cart on this current lease at $12.12 a month, and it doesn't help us to, it's better to do it as a package deal. So here's where we stand on the Yamaha carts, and you're not going to believe this. So because our fleet is in such good shape, we don't even have to wait till September to do anything. We can do it right now. We can get a better deal, flip our fleet right now for a new fleet, and drop our payment $200.
And still have it under lease.
And still have it,
I
that's
think-
a 48-month lease, so we can go to $1,000 a month.
If you were going to recommend buying out those cars, I'd have.
No,
my head
no,
immediately.
hell no.
Yeah, you're right, okay, good, I like.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Never said it.
No, so I'm telling you, these are two options we have on these, release them, release the fleet we have.
And you're saying we need it, first you had told me that we might could reduce the number, now you're saying that if you look at the tournament.
It's more expensive to reduce your number than to keep your fleet. It becomes more expensive.
Oh, really? In other
Yeah.
words, we're grandfathered under a good lease.
We're better off where we are.
Okay, all right.
Yep, we're better off. And then if we drop the number and then our playability, you know, we get more tournaments and everything, then we don't have enough carts for people, then we're really in trouble. So we got really what we need, and after talking to him, we're looking to drop our payment to $200 at least. And we can do that with a new fleet.
And our cart rental has come close to paying the cart, It's been the best object we've had.
Right.
As far as repayment is concerned, is the cart lease.
So where I'm going with all this, now, mind you that with this number, so here, when we started at $4,300 a month, considering that all those things are gonna happen, those machines are gonna get turned in, the bunker machine's gonna go away, we're gonna buy out the ProFlex, and I'm gonna push and shove and pray we can get that blower out of the way and own it as well. Okay, I mean, it's $140 a month, but $140 a month is $140 a month, the way I see it. So, this number right here represents that 2500B machine, that Greens machine that we talked about in the very beginning, the extra one. Okay, this is the cheapest lease at $540-some a month. If you look back on this sheet that had the numbers, look at the very bottom, that machine only has 172 hours. We want to release that machine, put it on a 48-month true lease. We don't want to buy a Greens machine because the technology improves and they're very expensive to maintain. So that's the only piece of machinery that we should keep on a true lease. So that gets dropped to $166.66 a month with taxes $13.33, ends up being $179.99. So now that drops. This would drop another, another $200 right here, and then after the carts, see the difference? It keeps dropping. Right now the carts are at $12.12. Okay, we want to drop the carts to $1,000. This is where we end up at in 15 months. $56,639.52 overhead on equipment and what we need to have, and that's primarily the carts, and you're only renting one piece of equipment and you own everything else.
Well, we also lease the carts and one piece of equipment.
That's leasing the
Yeah.
carts and one piece of equipment, and you own everything else, and now we're self-maintained. This does not include staff, so that's about bare bones is best I could get you for now. That's a 15-month drawdown. That's where we need to be.
That concludes my presentation.
So, that's where we're at.
Gentlemen, you got any
Do you have any
questions?
questions?
Got any questions for the man?
All I can tell you is you've done a good job with what you're doing, and you've done a great job as far as taking and making this stuff. Getting all the numbers together and whatever else, and getting the cost savings and whatever else, and what we do and don't need. I mean, you've done a fantastic job at it and everything.
We can use that little bit we got.
Oh, you always impress me with your knowledge of
We can
the,
use that little
course
bit we got.
and the golf industry.
It's
And
golf course.
you just tickled me to death when you say that we got 15 months, and we're gonna have break even.
Oh, I
Yeah, we-
apologize. Let me interject for 1 second. So this isn't 56,000 that you have to come up with yourself, because now you took the stress point off the course. So where we started at 212,000,
212.
the course needs to make anywhere from 8,600 a month to 10,400 a month. That's what it needed to
That
make.
ain't gonna happen.
Now, well, let me just, excuse me, sir, but let me just finish. So where we're at is that the course easily can make 36,000 a year, that's $3,000 a month, and we can do better than that, okay? But we can easily maintain 36,000 a month. We're getting 16,000 from SPLOST. The 23,000 that we get from these corporate memberships, and I'm not gonna get into that tonight, but January's coming up, and that's when a lot of those renew. Beasley, Rodney Thomas, all these companies. We need to sit down and have a very serious conversation on what the benefits are gonna be to people who contribute. Because what we have now is what's got us into, it's bad enough our debt load is there, but then we wanna please everybody in the community, and that's okay, I'm not against that. So I want to address quickly Councilman Bloodworth's point that he brought up to me. I understand that this community, just the median income doesn't allow some of the people in the community to pay $25 a head to play 18 holes. And because we're a 9-hole course to begin with. So that's very difficult to do. This gives us the ability to move that number. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and preach what it should be or whatever. That's something we all have to sit down and decide on what's attainable. But this is attainable, and that helps everything move. But we have to seriously sit down with all these entities. We still need their contributions. They still should get some benefit. I don't know to what level. I don't have a problem with that. But it can't be just everybody free-for-all. It just can't be that way, So, you need fire hydrants, you need fire hydrants, I need to reduce this, and I need to make enough money on the course to help pay for it, that we gotta find a happy medium. So, if the course makes 36,000, we're getting 16,000 a year from SPLOST for the next 4 years left, or 5 years left, and 20, did I say 22,000 already? That brings your aggregate to $10,000.
We can afford the golf course.
Lord, if you will step to my
I don't
office,
think
in my
so.
closet, at the top, there's 6 SPLOST accounts, they're in orange. Would you please bring me that golf course SPLOST?
Our citizens do not
Thank you.
deserve an unshared, system of our golf course. It's an albatross around the city's neck. It's not shared. If y'all know, we don't have it shared by the county or by the school system. We have the total expenditures that's there.
Yep.
They have the total freebie, being able to use it.
Well, I think this is really gonna help everybody, unwind a little, and we gotta be able to sit down and just have a conversation and see where it goes. And then you can still decide whether, you have to, the city of Azores has to decide, number one, does it want a golf course for itself? Because you may very well get stuck with it, I don't know,
Yeah.
But the bigger picture is, we definitely want the high school team to have a good golf course, not an average, not just a city mediocre golf course. When we get here, we can put the attention into those greens that we need to put. I'm not happy with that golf course, but I'm getting to where I need to get to.
I think with what you've done now, and the ability now to do the watering, and now that we've got the jump on all of our herbicides and pesticides, that we can do it early spring and do it at the right time,
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have a jam-up little 9-hole golf course out there, if we can afford, and from what you're telling me, you may be showing us where we can afford to keep it. And even if the county doesn't pay their share, in fact, most of the golfers that play at that golf course are county people, they're not residents of the city of Hazelhurst.
I know, but respectfully, I don't know that that's...
When are we gonna quit having a pissing contest with the county?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
really.
I'd like to know myself.
I just don't, I mean, but we're a city and, you know, there's things that we got to do and things we need. But, I mean, we can't keep relying on the county or having a pissing contest with the county. Or expect the county to do this if they're not gonna do it or they don't wanna do it. Now, I'm gonna say this, I appreciate the job you've done, but again, I don't like the method of how all this mess come about. I still think we needed our, golf course committee in place. I don't say that they did us right or did us wrong, but what they did was brought some money in here. And they were good at what they did, and I'm not taking anything away from you. But we're a city organization, and we got to quit trying to, I mean, we gonna do business with the county, we need to get into bed with the county.
Like I said, bottom line.
That's just my feelings on it.
Bottom line is, and like I said, nothing's gonna get done unless we go to them, talk to them, the other entities. Nothing's gonna get done and accomplished around here until the city of Hazelhurst, Jeff Davis County, the Board of Education, all get on the same page. We're not gonna have anything here in Hazelhurst. Until we all get on the same page and start trying to grow all together, that don't make a crap one way or the other. It's gonna be city, county, Board of Education until we all sit down together and try to do something for the common good of the city of Hazelhurst, Jeff Davis County. We can't continue to be separate entities. This crap has gone on for years, and it's because nobody has tried to come to the table to sit down. Nobody's tried to talk to anybody. Everybody's like, well, let's just everybody do their own thing, and it'll be all right. It ain't gonna be all right. If we don't come together and have some unity between the city, the county, and the Board of Education as a whole, and try to take and do something holistically for this county, that's it.
As it stands right now, though, I agree very much with what Mr. Griffin is saying, and what John's saying, but we've got to come together and negotiate together. But as it stands today, it's all the cities, and we cannot afford that as a city to benefit everybody. It's great. It's a great idea. I'd love to be driving a Porsche or a Cadillac and have a boat. That's a great idea, but it sure ain't gonna work, not on my billfold.
So if we're gonna keep bitching about it, we need to just turn it back over to the county or get rid of it or something, and quit sitting here and hashing back with the county don't do this and the city does this, and...
It's not so much...
Can I take that as a form of a motion?
No.
No, sir, I'm not giving that. That ain't happening.
Can I address that briefly?
Sure.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
We got on about the mowers and all, because I was here when all those mowers were bought.
2015 is when it all began.
2015 and then 2016.
Okay, I'm going back to some more even before then now. See, I have to deal with it way back, but wait a minute.
When you look at your master lease agreement, 2015 is the year of the unit. It was negotiated in 15, and then in 2016 it was actually...
Okay, I'm not doubting.
That's fine.
I mean, this is for somebody who don't know,
Yes, sir.
don't see any sense in hitting a little ball in a hole and picking it up.
Why, that's all you think about when you out there.
But anyway, the reason I'm asking, it was always brought up about these different mowers, and now you're telling me they could have got by with not having them. That's what I'm looking at. You know, that green mower was one that was so expensive. Years ago, we've had one or two out there,
Yes.
and it always posed a problem. And now I'm hearing that you could have just changed some blades on this thing.
Right, well, Jeff Davis County, when they were in the beginning, where we were in 2016 at a $212,000 debt table, when Jeff Davis County had it, those machines are still out, some of those machines are still out there, some of them are in the graveyard. They were at a $96,000 debt table.
Okay, but no, I ain't talking about. What I'm saying is,
But I'm answering your
but
question.
you telling me now that we really could've just changed some blades.
Well, that's somebody understanding golf, that's somebody understanding technology, that's somebody saying, how much do I want my course manicured? What am I willing to sacrifice? You know, right now, I'm cutting collars with a zero turn and it works great. But there's no scratch golfer that's gonna come out here and find that acceptable.
I see.
So that's where the difference is. You know, if you're gonna have equipment out there, then you gotta have the staff out there to run it. You know, sadly, the hours on these machines is that everybody had big eyes, you know, a big stomach, but they couldn't fill it. You know, and that's basically where we're at. So now we gotta move forward. You know, now we're at the end where we could really do something, and I'd like to address what Councilman Bloodworth was talking about. And you know, you're right, it's not about whether it's the county or the city. What it is we've got to make it attractive enough to invite someone to partner with us to help us here. Because we could get this low enough to bite the bullet and just decide we're going to have a golf course whether somebody plays or not. I mean, technically, you could lie to yourself and do that, but you don't need to. But if I can make it attractive enough now, you know, if I saw a $212,000 debt, I'd run too. I wouldn't want any part of that, but now we're talking about a $56,000 debt that's very manageable, you know, and believe it or not, I just spoke,
This is without your salary, as you
that's
pointed out.
without staff now, and staff can be done very reasonably. Now the course is so manageable, you don't need a high-tech person out there. Hell, I might not say that, and the mayor might decide to just cut me loose. But you see what I'm saying? You don't need a very technically proficient person now to manage it. The irrigation, I sent a 23-year-old single mother, and in 1 week, taught her to do the irrigation on a 30-acre course, and she managed it with no problem, and simply picked up the phone if she had a question. So you don't have to pay somebody, you know, that has an irrigation license to go out there and do this anymore. So we're trimming the fat, and we're getting where we want to go. And I agree with, I'm tired of the conversation. You know what, let's sit down, let's have a conversation, make a decision. You either want in, or you don't want in, and then we all know where we stand, and then we can go from there.
Thank you. Well, once again, I compliment you on your knowledge and the things you've done.
Thank you.
And showing us where we can save money, and promise that there may be a break even there someday.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Everybody
Tony.
done with it?
You've not only done a good job out on the course, you've done a good job of presenting it here. We appreciate it very much.
All right, thank you. And I'll let you know on the bunker rate.
Thank you, sir. And you're perfectly welcome to stay the rest of the meeting, or if you want to go home and cool off, you can do that, whatever you want to do.
I'm fine, I gotta get up early and cut greens.
All right, thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
We didn't have anything.
Oh, yeah,
Our balance in
Hey,
our-
wait a minute, Tony, what's the balance in the?
Our SPOS as of my last deposit is $14,802.47, and you say it would take $6,040
Yes.
for the buyout?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a smart move, but the greens machine, we wanna rent that, we don't wanna buy a greens machine.
And I finagled, pretty hard to get that, SPOS money for the golf course in there. Some folks didn't like that, but we got that over the 5-year period, we got, $100,000. And that's certainly gonna help us. Okay, let's move on. That was right lengthy, and y'all, I apologize for it, but the man worked hard on that, and we didn't need to. Ms. Bernice, why don't you handle this, number 4, the health insurance? And let me tell you, folks, if we've got crying towels to hand out.
We got tissue.
Okay.
They can
Plenty of
grab one.
Tissue up here. You talk about a sad state of affairs.
Gentlemen, first and foremost, we ain't got no choice. We can say we want to do the best we can for our employees. We ain't got no other choice but to look at this and take it into consideration, and it's gonna be happening. 2019, we paid $989 per employee per month for health insurance. This year, the proposed amount The least amount that we can go with is $1,132.32, which is an increase of $231.43 per employee. Okay? Last 4 years, we've had an increase in claims, no ifs, ands, or buts. People can't help it when they get sick. If you will flip to your medical benefit schedule, this is what's been handed to us. It will no longer be a $250 deductible as it has been. We will no longer be grandfathered in. Network providers. In network, the deductible will be $1,000. Out of network will be $2,000. Physician's visits.
Wait a minute, let me stop you there now. We checked with the county, with the hospital, with all sorts of people, and that 1,000 and 2,000 is mediocre compared to what most people have.
It's less than the hospital and the county that they're
It's
doing.
way less than they,
Yes.
it's way higher than that. So in fact,
I can give you
it's
it-
about half of what the others have. Even there, we're going up to that amount.
County.
Hospital, and we need to get through this, and I know I'm interrupting, but I heard some moaning and groaning. I want to make sure that you know that this is about half of what the hospital and the county is paying now, and I don't know that we're going to be able to maintain this. Go ahead, honey, I'm sorry.
The county, the deductible for the county is $1,500 on network, in network. Hospital is $1,750, okay? Office visits currently are $20. If you go to a regular physician, it is going up to $30. If you go to a specialty doctor, it will be $60. The things that have been for the county was $30 and $60. The hospital is $35 and $75. All right? Go down to your maximum out-of-pocket. Ours currently is $500 and $1,500. It is going up to $2,000 and $4,000 out of network. Hospitals is $4,500 out of network. Excuse me, that's the counties. Out of hospital for the hospital, out of network for the hospital is $3,500. We're still lower than them. Okay, preventive care, or what you call your wellness benefits, 100%. That's not changing. Okay? Flip to the next page. You no longer will have a 90-10 program. You will have an 80-20 in the network and a 60-40 out of network. You no longer will turn in prescriptions for 90-10. You will now have a prescription card. Generic drugs are $15. Brand drugs will be $30. Non-preferred will be $60. If you have a specialty drug, it will be, as you see in blue ink, 25% of the total cost. And when I say specialty drugs, these are the ones that you see advertised on TV. The majority of them are for diabetics. Okay, you will also have the option to have a mail order option. As you see, generic drugs will be $30 per prescription, and these are 90-day supplies. Brand drugs will be $50, and non-preferred will be $140. That is what has been proposed to us, and we have no choice, gentlemen. I have watched this, and I even suggested something last year. I have checked with other companies. With what we have on us right now, we cannot get a quote from another company.
Will the
And
employee...
by law, I'm sorry, Dwayne, keep your thought there. By law, we are such that we are mandated to provide this. We don't have to be self-insured, but if we went out to buy insurance from anywhere, you wouldn't believe it. If you think this is all for you, ought to hear what the proposals are. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, I was just asking, would the employees get some type of copy or something to show what drugs would be covered, or would they only know at the time of pick it up? Did they tell us?
That, I am waiting on the necessary paperwork to get to me.
Okay.
I will take each individual department, and I will probably either have the mayor or one of you council members with me, because I am not going to call a full-scale employee meeting. I'm going to each individual department to present this information, because I don't want to be bombarded by 50 different people with questions. If I can contain them in a small group, it's going to be a lot easier on me.
And to answer your question there, Dwayne, I've been under the best health insurance coverage that I believe is anywhere. And, I've been lucky with my wife being for years with state employment and falling under that system and all. And what we've always found with that, if they prescribe a drug, a doctor prescribes a drug, and we go to the drugstore, and it's not covered under our plan, then we can call the doctor back and ask him if he can find another drug. And that's, in order, you can't educate them on all those drugs, and which ones is and which ones is not. You just tell them if they go to the doctor and they write you a prescription, the pharmacist says, look, this is not paid, this is not a, what is it? It's not a
covered drug.
It's not a covered drug, not the generic, it's not in the plan. Then you say, look, I can prescribe instead of ampicillin, I can prescribe penicillin, or you can change it to a drug that will handle the treatment. So we don't need to get in all that paraphernalia. The thing of it is we've been paying $900 something a month, we're going to $1,132, and I've been every month writing a check for between $50,000 and $60,000, and that's going up to more than that. It looks like it's going to break our butt.
It will be $58,880.67 every month.
I agree with what the mayor was saying too, that, I know even my daughter-in-law was at the pharmacy, but as I tell her, when I'm there and it does not cover under my plan, then I say call the doctor and get something else. Tell him, quite frankly, I don't care what you prescribe. If this is the only thing, I'll have to bite the bullet. But if there's something else, he'll change it.
And they'll learn that. Okay, y'all have heard it, that's tough, and we've already talked to y'all about it, there's nothing we can do about it. If they were, I would have done it.
Okay, I have a question about it and everything, since it's going up and whatever else. Now, we're self-insured, and the city's been paying this for years and years and years and years, 100% and whatever else. And I'm gonna tell you straight out, even if it sounds like we're trying to take and do something bad, I think we need to take in, at least, at a minimum, our employees need to pay at least $100 a month.
We can't right now.
They won't allow us to?
They will not allow us to.
No,
Not at this time.
No.
Do we have to change that in order for it to happen, the way it's set up?
All right, wait a minute. Let me answer this question, we'll move on. We put this not only with our agent, but the Paragon and others as well.
Right.
If you do that, and the rules are, and I trust that they've got the experience.
Right.
If you do that, all you healthy people that don't, all year don't have it, will drop off to it's gonna cost you more money. You're removing your healthy people from the program. If you do that, if you make them pay, the ones that don't need health insurance will say, well, heck, I've been getting by without it, I just won't even accept it, if they're gonna have to pay for it, and it's gonna cost us more. And I studied it hard and got the best information I can get, and I can't do that. Now, here again, if you can find someone that can disprove that, of course, we're willing to listen. But it's proven to me
We can take and do it, that's fine.
well, if you put the part of the cost on the employee, it's gonna remove all your healthy people, you don't have anything left to stick. It's gonna cost you money. All right, let's move on, we gotta go. Okay, Mr. Bloodworth, you wanna talk about Christmas safety bonuses? We ain't got the money.
Just a question, some of the employees has talked to me, and we need to find the money,
All right, hold on, let me see this.
because they bank on that.
All right, let me tell you what, our clerk has already prepared a deal, and, send it out to you.
Please do not touch this.
And by the way, now, we need to hand these back up, because we don't need this going out right now to the employees, they don't need this information. It's gonna cost us $4,000. Look at your second page right there, over your eye, when you add it, no, it's not, that's not all. There's another factor of either 25 or 50 is not added in there. 26, it's gonna cost you between $25,000 and $30,000 here at Christmas to do that.
Before any taxes are taken out, your total cost is $24,707.19 for the bonus pay. Your safety bonus will be $1,425.
Is that, is this added in it, Chief, that's what they added in
These
it?
are already added together right here.
Okay, so it's
And if you
that-
look to the left, $5,828.92 will come out of Warren. The general fund will be $18,878.27.
I would feel a lot better when you get through with this, hand this back up and let it stay right here. All right, let's move on. Chief, you're finally here. Chief,
I've applied for a grant through, U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Development for $15,912 for computers for the police department. That is, I wanna say it's at least 10 computers with printers, and that's to replace what we have.
what will the local participation be, Chief?
Sir,
What's the local participation?
it's a grant. It's
Okay.
100%.
So we-
This is not a matching. This is 100%.
Well, I hope.
I understand it. If it's any different, I'll come back to you.
I hope to heck you were right, and I hope you
But
get
I
it.
just need y'all to vote on it, saying that, you
You'll
know,
make application for it?
right, yeah, this is for the council to vote, saying yes, we will accept these funds if so awarded.
Well, good gracious, somebody make a motion.
Now make a motion that we take the funds and receive them.
Give me 4 seconds and 3/3. All in fa-
I move that we accept these funds.
All in favor say aye.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
All right,
good.
let's move. All right, Bernice, I got some good news, y'all.
Okay.
I have struggled to get design on street signs, welcome to Hazelhurst, City of Hazelhurst, and I've been running into stone walls everywhere. And finally, Ms. Bernice is gonna tell you the problem has been solved.
Yes, I'm also a member of the Board of Tourism, so naturally I'm there. Ms. Terry Stone has requested that she would like to take lead of this to work on getting the funding for the city entrance signs, which will be at 5 locations. And she is wanting to take the lead on this, and basically I want y'all to tell me that we can let her do it.
Entertain a motion, gentlemen,
So
that we
moved.
allow Ms. Terry Stone of the Board of Tourism to take charge of our entrance signs, and we will assist them in any way we can. Is there a motion?
You got a motion and a second.
Motion made by who?
Me?
Ramey, seconded by Griffin. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Tell her she's got the job.
Yes, sir.
Thank God for that. Okay. Cody, tell us about your resurfacing, and you can add in what I just told you a while ago.
Well, what we're looking at, y'all have a copy of the CIP there. That's pretty much the airport wish list for state and federal funding. And we just need to have the mayor sign that and send it in by Friday, the 27th.
It's gotta go in right away.
As far as researching goes, we are, the mayor has informed me before the meeting that there are some funding that has come down the pipe, and we should be getting those funding shortly. And, we get it designed, and the contract on that, if possible, the contract could be start resurfacing by August next year,
Maybe before.
maybe before.
Yeah. And it's $1,200,000 roughly.
Right.
And, the obligation that we stuck our name for 90-something thousand, federal government has approved that, with the exception of around $4,000. And we can use our airport. So we're clicking on all cylinders for that project. So we will see, a completely resurfaced runway. We got a brand new taxiway now, and all of these aprons and all of the work that we've done there. Now we're gonna see a completely cracked seal and resurfaced runway, and lights and all, and things that have to be, but the crown of the runway, there hasn't been an exit ramp, and why it wasn't planned with the taxiway, I do not know, but the airport says we need it to crown, where they could get an exit if another plane is at the other end and they don't see it. So there's gonna be another exit coming off of it there. It's $200,000 plus the engineering and the things that we approved the other day, and we're gonna be out probably $5,000 or $10,000. And we got it just flush. That's mighty good news. I entertain a motion that y'all allow me to sign the CIP. It needs to go in.
Make a motion to sign the CIP.
Mr. Griffin made a motion that I sign and get that, headed out, but even before Friday, seconded by Mr. Ramey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried.
You will also need to take into consideration your task order number 6 to begin that part of it.
What now? Oh, yeah, we've already taken care of that.
I just said the CIP.
Well, the engineering design services, we approved that $97,000 the other day, and we just got the okay approved with the money. Survey work is that, and all, the 83 engineering, it all adds up. See, that's what we approved the other day, and we've already got federal money to pay for it.
Okay. That'd be fine, don't mind.
That's all paid for, you can forget that. Well, except for a little bit, we'll figure out how to pay that. All right, the retreat, heck, we can't afford a retreat, Bernice.
Mayor, joint advisory retreat for the district clerk, Bernice Thompson, December the 5th through the 6th at the Graduate Athens in Athens, Georgia. All I need is approval for 1 meal and 1 night hotel stay. Carl Vinson Institute of Government is going to take care of the other meal and my other night of stay.
Entertain a motion that we approve the,
So moved.
advisory retreat to the clerk.
Second.
Please, y'all, give me a second and vote for it, because I'd hate like hell to have to face her tomorrow. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried. Never you stay off my back.
Yes.
All right. We'll handle all these other things. I entertain a motion that we handle all the rest of this Thursday night.
Make a motion.
Okay, you need a second to it?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any mayor and commissioner comments?
Any citizen comment?
Yeah, he said mayor and commissioner comment.
I meant to, Rhonda.
I know you probably did.
You see what time it is?
One thing,
Okay, here.
on the sign, because I really would love to see Welcome City of Hazelhurst. Natasha was working on some easements to put these signs. She said we had to have easements. Do y'all know where she is?
I know all about it. I've already done that, and the DOT will not let you have anything over this high. If you ride in like even a car my size, you've got to look across the right of way, and no obstruction can be higher than that. You don't know how I fought this mess. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do.
Okay.
Now,
Reminder.
if you get off the right of way, and then when you get off the right of way, you'll be surprised how many people say, well, look here, I think I'm gonna do something here, and folks don't wanna sign the easement over on private property. I'm anxious to see, I want them to do well.
Mayor, I'm gonna insert something here.
Better hurry up, but I'm big close business out here.
Received notification the Christmas parade will be December the 14th, 2019. I have filled out an application for the City of Hazelhurst elected officials. There will be a flatbed truck with Mario Stone, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Ramey, Commissioner Griffin, and Commissioner Bloodworth. You all need to get together, discuss how you're gonna decorate it. There will also be a golf course.
Excuse me?
Yeah, how you gonna decorate it?
I've delegated
However you decorate.
You're the elected officials, I love you, but I got enough to do. The City of Hazelhurst City Hall will have a golf cart consisting of Bernice, Lori, Kim, and Lori, and everything that's going to be in there. Chief?
She's power hungry, don't listen to her.
Chief?
I'm leading
Mate.
the parade.
You're leading the parade? Gotcha. Okay.
She wants to ride with you.
I just want y'all to be aware. That's all I have.
In the back seat.
Don't drive with the plate. Hey, I got something on the 14th also, they're having a downtown Christmas, that they're proposing shutting down Henson Street between Crow Marty and Tallahassee. All those parking lots in there around Fales Furniture and Interstate Credit Union, all those parking lots, they're gonna have, what I understand, vendors set up in that area, and they're gonna have it decorated for Christmas, and there's like from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 9 p.m., they're gonna have a big thing and then the parade and.
I'd like to make a motion they can drink eggnog and Fireball.
Oh, my.
Mr. Johnson.
So move.
Mr. Johnson moves that we adjourn.
Second.
Is there a second by Mr. Bloodworth?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, gentlemen, we went over.
I thought you said bye, you said aye.